Well, hello gang, and welcome back to my guide series on The Long Dark. If you've not yet seen the first 3 videos in this series, take the time to go and do so, as this one builds off of the topics discussed there. You can find a link in the description or the card in the upper right, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. In the previous videos, we talked about playstyle tuning and goal setting. While those two items are directly linked, there is one other layer to them that does need to be discussed for it to all come together and make sense. As you noticed from the title, that's risk management. For those of you in the corporate world, this won't be a novel topic. However, not everyone is an actuary, so let's break down how risk management works in conjunction with playstyle tuning and goal setting. First, let's discuss the lower bound of playstyle tuning again. Typically, but not necessarily always, this lower bound is any activity, be it exploration, hunting, or otherwise, that is necessary for your survival into the next day. This lower bound can fluctuate based on the resources you've collected and the health and well-being of your character. If you don't have water, you're going to need to boil some. If you're out of food, you might need to hunt or go loot other locations for processed food. The upper bound of your playstyle tuning is typically whatever actions feed into your long-term goals beyond what is just necessary for daily survival. If this is forging arrowheads, that means you need to secure a hacksaw, scrap metal, a heavy hammer, and coal. Then you need to head to a forge. In the long run, this goal might even help you with your daily survival, but at the current moment, it's not directly linked to it. So, what does risk management have to do with playstyle tuning? Well, risk management is taking the time to assess where you are in relation to these lower and upper bounds and how any activity you partake in can impact those bounds. What do I mean by this? Well, let's take daily survival at the start of a new run. You need to explore the world to find food, clothing, and resources. If you just sit still, you avoid wolves and possibly the cold and weather. Hey, that's maximal risk avoidance, right? Well, you're going to have no resources, so now you're harming your odds at surviving into the next day. Once your thirst and hunger hit rock bottom, your condition will suffer. This means that staying put in the long run is not an acceptable risk to your lower bound, your daily survival. Exploring the world, despite potential for wolves and bad weather, is a necessity. But risk management can get more granular than just the high level like that. Playstyle tuning and goal setting kind of exists at a higher level, right? Like a 30,000 foot view. But let's actually put this concept of risk management and playstyle tuning and combine that with risk management. And then let's put this layer in action with some footage from my most recent Stalker run. Here, I'm leaving Desolation Point and heading to Coastal Highway. To do so, I need to go through the Old Island Connector. This is a very narrow transition region that has several wolves in it. Due to the narrowness of it, I call it the Gauntlet, as you will have a hard time completely avoiding wolves here. But getting through it is necessary for me to progress towards both my daily survival and my long-term goals. But here is where risk management can take less of a bird's eye view or high-level view and actually be something present in this very moment. As I go through this region, I don't want to encounter any wolves if I can help it. This means my risk aversion to wolves is quite high. As I go through, note how I hug the cliffs and scuttle along. Why do I do this? Well, because I have map knowledge, I know where the wolves are likely to be. But not only do I know where they are likely to be, I'm also getting direct feedback from the game itself in this very moment. I can hear them howling, and that tells me where they are. So my risk management comes in, and I go where the wolves are not. I scuttle along the backside of the region, I loot the basement, and I head out into Coastal Highway. Not only is my risk management influencing my decisions at a high level, I need to leave Desolation Point to secure my daily survival at a minimum, but it's also influencing my in-the-moment decisions. So this is a concrete example of how risk management plays out in the long dark. Well, how does this tie into goal setting, even if it's just a goal for daily survival? One mistake I've seen many new players make is overcommitting. They fall into this sunk cost fallacy. They might say, well, Waff, I've already spent hours hunting this deer in Pleasant Valley. I took the time to harvest it, and all the while I was cold, so now my condition is at 50%. Am I not supposed to use condition as a resource? Well, sure, but only as needed, and I'll have a video actually discussing that in more granular detail in the future. But for now, you've harvested this deer, you're over encumbered, and now you're trying to cart all of that smelly meat and guts back to the farmhouse. As a result, every single wolf in the valley is now chasing you. If you continue to focus on the fact that you need this deer meat to eat for the next day and only laser focus on that goal, you are going to run into trouble. Sunk cost fallacy. Now, you might assume you need to commit to this decision until it's completed or you fail. There is another choice, however, besides failing and dying. You can modify your goal on the fly. In this instance, we could drop enough meat so we're no longer waddling like a penguin, and now we can actually outpace the wolves and get back to the farmhouse in time. Success! This might seem like a silly example, but these are the kinds of choices you need to make on the fly. Don't ever overcommit to any one choice. Perhaps you wanted to summit Timberwolf Mountain in a single day, but you've run out of fatigue and you're tired. You can't climb any more ropes, and so now you either have to backtrack somewhere, or you need to sleep next to the rope and risk a blizzard rolling in. If you overcommit to any given task, even if it is in support of just your daily survival, that lower bound, you can get into trouble. There are thousands of potential situations you might find yourself in during any given run in the long dark. I can't speak to each and every nuanced situation in one short video like this. However, my goal is to give you a framework that builds on the previous videos to equip you with knowledge to avoid common pitfalls. Playstyle tuning allows you to evaluate the tasks you do in any given day of any given run and prioritize those tasks based on both your daily survival needs and furthering your long-term goals. Goal planning gives you those long-term goals to plan and prioritize tasks for. Playstyle tuning, when done properly, should ensure that no pursuit of your long-term goal eclipses your daily survival needs to put you in a bad spot where death is around the corner. And effective risk management enables you to evaluate at both a high level and a low level. At the high level, it helps you further prioritize daily tasks based on your upper and lower bounds. And at a low level, it helps you make wise decisions about your daily tasks in the moment to avoid poor decision making. Overcommitment doesn't always come from a place of confidence either. Sometimes it comes from a place of fear. Fear of not making it into the next day because you really need that deer meat to eat. But if you let that fear control you, you can make unwise decisions in the moment that stack on top of each other and snowball into death. Sure, going without food for a day will negatively impact your lower bound, your daily survival, but it might be necessary to avoid dying to a wolf when you're tired and cold. Hunger won't kill you instantly, but a wolf can. Live to fight another day. Practice risk avoidance at both a high and low level, and you'll begin to survive longer and longer each run. As I said before, I can't equip you for every possible scenario, but as you play the game and you build your game knowledge, you'll find that you get a better understanding of these concepts and the risks that you find acceptable to you and the ones that are unacceptable. Putting all three of these frameworks together, when coupled with core gameplay knowledge, will equip you to handle any possible situation. Now, you might still die just because the game is harsh, especially at higher difficulties, but at least it won't always be due to poor decision making. Now here's another quick example of risk management, also taken from my Stalker run. Here, I'm doing a task that contributes to my long-term goals at a high level. But let's look at a low level. I get very close to this wolf. Now, I've played the game a lot, I have hundreds of hours, I know how wolves work, their average detection ranges, and everything like that. But I'm still pushing the envelope pretty hard here. Let's watch that clip play out. I'm too fat to do my usual hijinks of sliding around though, so... Where? Hello. I hear you. There you are. Alright, we're really fat and he's between us and where we want to go. How much jiggle bomb you think we got? Can we jiggle him? Maybe. It's pretty close. I think he's gonna charge. I'm gonna keep my eye on him. Yep. Really? That wasn't enough? Did I hit him? Did I not hit him? I must have missed him. As you can see, I did not practice good risk management here. Or did I? Well, let's look into it at a granular level. I have good clothing, a weapon, and tools I can use if the wolf assaults me. While wolves are a big risk, I deemed the encounter safe enough to try and just wiggle past him. Granted, I misjudged. A second point of risk management came in. I could have shot the revolver sooner had I wanted to. I really wanted that headshot though, and so I let the wolf line himself up with me and I took the shot later than I could have. These two actions, the getting close and the waiting to take my shot, were both risks that I estimated and then committed to. As you can see, I ended up on the business end of the wolf as a result. This didn't impact me too harshly and I continued on my way, but it did have an impact anyway. At this moment in the situation, I had a plethora of options. I could have retreated backwards onto the bridge for a cleaner shot as soon as I noticed that the wolf had detected me. I could have also attempted to circle wider, as I initially started to do, by dropping off the ledge. Or, I could have still done what I did, but then once the wolf started charging, I could have fired sooner, even without the intent to hit the wolf. The gunfire would have likely scared him, and I could have been on my way, unmolested. This is how risk management plays out at a low-level setting. Know your limits, know the impacts of continuing with the given activity, and then evaluate if it's worth it or not, even assuming the worst possible outcome. I did that, and I rolled the dice that I'd come out unscathed. Well, I rolled wrong. I then rolled that I could get a headshot and prevent the attack altogether. I also chose wrong there too. This could have been a run ender had I been in poor condition, or if I had no clothing, or if I was playing at a higher difficulty level beyond Stalker. But I wasn't, and so therefore I was able to make it out okay, but this was still likely far too much risk. I would especially say for new players and those learning the game, this is way too much risk. Learn from this example. Now, in a future video, we will discuss long-term planning in a bit more detail, and then couple it with risk management again, to give you guys another framework for engaging with the long dark at a higher level view. But for now, this video should get you in the mindset of evaluating short-term goals and daily tasks to evaluate the inherent risks, and then give you a framework for adjusting your play moment by moment to avoid situations like the one I found myself in. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and consider subscribing. I hope this video has helped you guys get this concept of risk avoidance and risk management, and as I said, we'll discuss it in deeper detail at a high level view in a future video. As always, stay safe and stay warm out there.